Josh, can you test your mic?
Check.
Flip the
One.
switch so it's off of mute.
Yeah, check. 1, 2.
Flip the switch so it's off of mute on the top.
Yeah, it's off of mute. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2.
We have a special treat today in our Sunday school hour. We have Mr. Josh Austin, who is with us from the Salt River Church of Christ. Josh is the father to Aaliyah, who has been with us for the past several years while she's attending UTEP. The good news is that
Good morning, church. Great to have an opportunity to be with you. One of the things that when you go places, it's like, how do you introduce yourself? I'm Aaliyah's dad, right? And then that way you can get the connections. But I'm grateful to be here with everybody and have an opportunity to share what is near and dear to my heart and working with Native Americans in Arizona. And so get an opportunity to share that over the next Bible class time. So if you don't mind, let's start off in a word of prayer. Our great God and Father, you are truly amazing. There is no darkness in you at all. There is nothing that is imperfect, holy in every way, righteous and just, full of loving kindness, and we're so blessed to be able to call you our Father. Thank you for this new day. Thank you for this new week. Thank you for this reminder that we are to gather as your people to be reminded of Jesus and what he did on that cross. To never forget that it's because of his great sacrifice that we can be forgiven and set free from our sins. We thank you for this congregation. We thank you for the work that they do here, and grateful for the way they've watched over Aaliyah. May you continue to bless them and all that they do here in being a light into the darkness. We praise you, O God, and want to continue to try to magnify your name, to spread the good news of your Son around the world. We ask all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. I want to just start off real quickly. In Acts chapter 14, some of you guys remember when Paul was doing his missionary work. He was out there planting congregations, and then he left from Antioch. Antioch was sort of like the home church, right? And so he comes back to Antioch, and if you notice in Acts chapter 14, starting in verse 27, so Paul comes back with Barnabas, and in Acts 14, verse 27, when they arrived, they gathered the church together. That sounds like what we're doing here, right? They gathered the church together, and it said they began to report. Sounds like what we're doing here. Report all things, but here's the thing, that God had done with them and how God had opened a door of faith to the Gentiles. So I hope that as you'll hear me say, we do this, we do that, but really it's God. This is God who has worked through us, and how he has opened a door of faith to the people out around the Native American people. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to share. And for those of you that are not familiar, Arizona is home to more reservations than anywhere else in the United States. There's 22 reservations in Arizona. And I was born and raised on the Navajo Indian Reservation, which is kind of in the top right-hand corner where it becomes a square, the kind of orangish beige area just above the red. And my parents, my mom here, and my dad, they went out there in 1973 to do mission work among the Native Americans, the Navajo people. And so I was born and raised out there, and then got a chance to go to college in Denver, met my wife there, and decided to go to Bear Valley Bible Institute afterwards. And then Divine and I moved back to the Navajo Reservation and preached there for 9 years. And so that's where Aaliyah was born, and up until she was 8 years old, was raised out on the Navajo Reservation. After that time, I moved back to Denver, did a couple of years of mission work, Cameroon, Africa, helped to start a preaching school out there in Cameroon, and then wanted to get back to working with Native Americans. And so what we did is we started doing some research, and a lot of people from these 22 different reservations end up in Phoenix. Phoenix is sort of the hub. It's where the jobs are at. That's where the colleges are at, the opportunities are at. And so really a lot of people from these different reservations end up there. And even though there's 22 reservations, the Lord's Church is only on the Navajo Reservation. No other place has a presence there. And so we started doing some digging around and looking at it. And what we decided on was Phoenix. And Phoenix is where we decided to go. You might not be able to see it very well here, but Phoenix, yeah, I can't really see, but Phoenix, if you've ever been there, you've got Scottsdale, you've got Mesa, and just in between, sort of like a pie shape, there is the Salt River Pima Reservation. The Salt River Pima Reservation is not very big. It's Scottsdale's on the left, and then Pima's down on the Mesa metropolitan area is south of that. But it's not very big. Compared to the Navajo Reservation, the Navajo Reservation is bigger than the state of West Virginia. It would take you 4.5 hours to drive from the Grand Canyon all the way into New Mexico. So it is a massive area with the Navajo Reservation. Whereas the Salt River Pima Reservation, you can drive across it in about 20 or maybe 30 minutes, if that. So it's much smaller. About 10,000, 12,000 Pima are right there in this area. But it's interesting because you have this huge metropolitan area and then a pie shape. If you've ever flown into Phoenix and you look out, you'll see city all around, and then it just sort of farmland, and it just sort of open right there. That's where we do a lot of our work, and the traditional name is the Pipash and Otum, the Otum people, and they call them the Pima and Maricopa, and they kind of combined the two people. They're cousins, and they were all on this reservation. Well, we decided to go there to this area, and we said, you know what, we want to try to target this place, but there's going to be other Native Americans, Navajos, Hopis, Apaches. All of these people are going to be in this area. And so we said, all right, well, if we're gonna start this, how do you begin? So what we did is we started with people we knew. You start with people you know. And Stenson Osif was from Kayenta. He was one of those guys, when our 9 years of preaching up in Kayenta, he had moved down to Phoenix for jobs and for education. And even though he is Navajo, but his dad is also part Pima. And this is, again, where you can see the handiwork of God to say, isn't it interesting, one of our contacts was actually registered with the Salt River Pima Reservation. So when we were trying to reserve buildings on the reservation and do things on the reservation, God just so happened to provide Stenson Osif, and he was able to get us in there, and did a great job for us until he eventually moved back to Kayenta and got married and has children up there. But also down in Phoenix was Evan Todachini. And Evan was a student at Arizona State University, 21 years old. And at the time, it was his girlfriend, and they had a 1-year-old son. Evan had a little 1-year-old son. And in our first 3 or 4 months, they became Christians. And so here they are coming out of kind of what people would say a traditional background. When I use the word traditional, a lot of times that's people still use medicine men. You got Mother Earth, Father Sky, sort of a multiple gods. You know, there's sort of like a holy people that's in the skies, and so this traditional is very prominent on the Navajo reservation, and Evan was raised that way. Evan was raised up in this, and it's sort of, it's almost a karma. Do good, good happens. Do bad, bad happens. It's sort of that direction. And so he just became a Christian. Him and Crystal, brand new Christians. And 3 months later, their son comes down with meningitis and was dead in 5 days. So if you're raised with karma to say, if you do bad, bad is going to happen, I just became a Christian. I just became a Christian. And I thought God is supposed to bless me. I thought God is supposed to do these things. And now your son dies? How do you work through that? How do you decide to move through that? And by God's grace, they decided to say, you know what? I believe those words, that he will not come back to me, as David said, but I will go to him. And that's what they put their faith in. They put their faith in God, and they said, we want as many people as possible to meet our son Chase. And we want to help do that. And in fact, we want to go to preaching school and help do that full time. And so they went to Bear Valley, now married with 3 beautiful daughters, and worked with us at Salt River for 6 years. They went to Bear Valley and came back and kind of partnered with us and worked with us for 6 years. And then about 3 years ago, they moved back to Kayenta and are now preaching and teaching and doing a fantastic job up there. And it's been amazing, because that was one of our goals, is we said we want to convert and train up, equip, and then send back to the different reservations. And man, Evan has been doing a fantastic job back in Kayenta. Then Crystal, her sister, this is her sister Brianna and her husband DeCoven. They were also converted down in Phoenix and made the move up to Kayenta. Been training under Evan and now a youth minister. And just recently, they decided to go to Bear Valley to get extra training. And so, Lord willing, this August, they're going to be starting school there in Denver. And just looking forward to see how they do. They also have 3 children. I didn't picture them, but excited to see how that turns out. Another family that was there, Arlinda, she's from the Navajo Reservation, but she moved to Phoenix to work at the Indian Hospital there in Phoenix. And this is her daughter, Celeste. Very old picture, right? And so Aaliyah and Celeste grew up in Phoenix together. And what's amazing is Celeste really battled mental health. I mean, it was very, very serious when she was growing up. And she ends up moving, meets a guy in Phoenix who was going to school there, but he was from North Carolina. She meets this guy, and they go to move to North Carolina, and I'm like, oh, great, you know, how is this going to work out? He was raised as an atheist and wanted nothing to do with God and all of these kinds of things. And then they moved to North Carolina, and it just so happens that they moved to a town that Evan's classmate from Bear Valley was preaching there. And Celeste had actually met him before, and out of all of the places on the East Coast, they moved to a town that she had actually met the preacher. That, again, you just see God's handiwork and how he works things out. And as of today, Marcus and Celeste graduate from Bear Valley, and he is moving to Morenci, Arizona, which is just on the border of New Mexico and Arizona. Small little congregation where my mom worships at. So they just had a baby, 2 months. Is it 2 months now? 2 months old. And so amazing just to see the way that God has brought Celeste from where she was at and now working in full-time ministry. There's been other stories I'd love to tell you about, but Ellen a single mom of 4, now 5. This is 4 of her 5 children. But Ellen is from the Hopi Reservation, also apartment manager, property manager that she does. And her daughter, the one in the white T-shirt on the right, Sydney, ended up going to Harding University and got her double master's in computer engineering, and now is working in Dallas. And so we just think, oh, this is doing just to see some of the things that God has done and is working through these families has been encouraging, to say the least. Another family that started worshiping just before COVID was Ezekiel and Julie. Ezekiel was raised up in the Mesa Church of Christ and came over and started worshiping with us. And then he converted his wife. And after being with us a year or two, they had been around so many Bear Valley people. You guys might get tired of me hearing about Bear Valley, but that's where I graduated from, and a little bias. I think that's the place to go. But anyway, they were around all of these guys, and they said, I think I want to go. And so 3 years ago, they decided to go to Bear Valley, and they graduated from there and moved back. And for the last year, excuse me. And for the last year, have been apprenticing and working with us out there. And his goal is to start a campus ministry at ASU, because there's over 60,000 students there, and at this moment we don't really have a presence there. And our building is just down the street. We're on University Boulevard, just down the street from ASU. So his goal is really to start campus work out there. And they have a son that's about to turn 1 year old, Hezekiah. And man, they have been such an encouragement. His mom and dad, his brother, huge help. In each congregation, you got those people that just do everything. That's this family, the Barnes' family, and we're blessed to have them. Recently, I'll get to a couple of others that this family here, Ian and Lila, and their 4 children. Ian, we met at we've been blessed to work in the jail on the Salt River Pima Reservation. They have a jail there, and Ian and Lila were both there, addicted to fentanyl for many years, had actually lost custody of their children, were living on the streets, very, very bad situation, and got arrested and were serving time at DOC. And while there, I was able to start doing Bible studies with them. And Lila got out first, and then about 10 months later, Ian got out. And I do the Bible correspondence courses, and I start off with lesson number 1, and we'll see if they do it. Some do, some don't. But some people, man, they are on it. I mean, they do those Bible correspondence courses, and Ian was one of those guys. He did not miss a question, and it was very thorough. He's writing it all out, and he would grade it, get it back to him, and then he'd on to number 2, number 3, number 4, then on to the next series, and on to the next one. And I said, something a little different about this guy. And man, ever since he's been out, he got out 3 years ago now, and he has done a fantastic job. Just to see his growth, the way him and his wife have responded, and they never miss. And he wants to say, I want to be the first to help my people, the Salt River Reservation. And so Lord willing, if I could put a plug in, they are trying to raise money to go to Bear Valley this August, and they are almost there. They're lacking about $2,000 a month on support. And so if anybody, one time, monthly, $10 a month, whatever it is, they're trying to get there, but they're getting close. I mean, they're really getting close on their support, and man, we are excited about this family because there have been other Navajos that have gone to the Navajo reservation, but this would be the first from the Pima tribe, and man, they're getting ready to move the 1st of July. They'll move the 1st of July. School starts the 1st of August. And so that's Ian and Lila. The other guy that was at DOC, Department of Corrections, is John. John is part Pima, but he is mostly Kiowa. And he was raised up in Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, out in that area. And again, he was one of those guys, start off with pamphlet number 1, never misses a question, 2, 3, 4, goes through all of these correspondence courses. After a while, I'm like, okay, I'm giving him books, and then he's reading a book a week, sometimes 2 a week, and giving him new ones all the time, and very sharp. Man, this guy does a great job, and said that he would love to pursue ministry as well. So if you didn't know, he's the short one in the middle. But John is, man, just doing a great job, and he, thankfully, he does have his support. Much easier to raise support for one person than for a family of 6 in Denver, which is one of the most expensive places to live in America. But that's where Bear Valley's at. So we're looking forward to him. We believe in this guy so much. He's been living with us for the last 5 months, just trying to get him going and on his feet and become a part of the family, to see him move along. You're saying, well, how did this get started at the jail? Because that wasn't one of my original intentions. You know, we're doing all these different aspects, and so one of the guys, when we were door knocking, we would go out and door knock and just try to flyer and meet people. And the guy on the left is Justin Fullwilder. And Justin had been an alcoholic most of his life. He said that he started drinking at 14 and did not stop until he became a Christian around 60 years old. And he had definitely a hard life. And he said that one of the last times that he got arrested, he was arrested a lot. Most of his life was in jail. He was out panhandling, out in the parking lot, asking for money. And, you know, we've all had those experiences, and this guy kind of belittled him and sort of made fun of him. Well, he stabbed him right there in the parking lot. So Justin was nobody to be messed with. He had served time, and he said, you know what, it's time for me to shape up. And so we came knocking on his door, and he started coming to Bible study, and we studied with him, and he became a Christian. And after several years, one of his good friends is Tom Largo. Tom Largo is the guy right in the middle in the dark blue shirt with a cane. Tom Largo had always been doing jail ministry for 20 years, been doing jail ministry from I forgot what denomination he's from. But Justin would always talk to Tom and say, hey, Tom, you got to meet this preacher. He's from the Navajo reservation. He's a white guy, but he's from the reservation, you know? And so Tom was like, all right, you know? And so he said, I just had one of my preachers that is no longer going into the jail. Would he like to go in? And I said, sure. I didn't know that was a thing that you could do, but yeah, let's give it a shot. And so opened up the door because of Justin, because of Tom, and ultimately because of God. And that's that opportunity. And so here is the Department of Corrections. DOC is how we always name it. And we've had so many converts lately that we say we got to rename it to DOC is not Department of Corrections, but Disciples of Christ. You know, that's really what we want to be about. And one of the people that has made a huge difference is Ramona. Ramona's on the right side, her family on the left. Those are her siblings. She has lots of brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters. But Ramona was at DOC as well, and she had been there. basically it was aggravated assault. I mean, it was very, very close to attempted murder, and so very, very violent background, drugs, alcohol, abuse. I mean, it is a very serious background that she came from. And I remember that she was sitting right here in this area, the table. It was, I think, October, and she said, I'm going to read the whole Bible. And, people talk a lot when they're at jail, and, they say things, but she said, I'm going to read that whole Bible. And, all right, that'd be great. Go for it, Every time I would come back, she said, I'm this far, and then I'm this far, and I'm this far. And, when people's Bibles, you can tell when they're spending a lot of time, it starts to wear. And all of the ladies are like, yeah, she reads it out loud. So she's in her cell, and she doesn't just read it, she reads it out loud. And they're like, yeah, she reads it all the time. Anyway, in 4 months, she read that whole thing. And then we lost track of her. And we were like, what happened? She got let out, released. And all charges were dropped. And to this day, I still don't understand exactly how that all happened, but all charges were dropped. She went to a sober living home, and the very first Sunday she came back that she was available, she came. And man, she hasn't missed since. 3 years. 3 years that she started coming. In those 3 years, she has read the entire Bible through 3 times. I think 3.5 now. 3.5 times in 3 years. And the impact that she has had has been incredible. She has led 3 of her siblings to the Lord, multiple others that have come, and she was able to get a job in a sober living program on the reservation called Journey to Recovery, JTR. And now that she works there, she's been working there several years, but what happens is she is able to do Bible studies with the ladies, prays with them, guides them, counsels them, and she is able to be some of the first influences. And because of her reputation on the reservation, people listen. They're like, wait, who? Because her name was Kizzy. So everybody's like, Kizzy. And it's interesting that she will say, my name is not Kizzy. My name is Ramona. Kizzy died. Kizzy was buried, and I'm Ramona. And literally, that's kind of that Saul to Paul type situation. And she's been such an encouragement that you hear God on her lips all the time. You just hear that faith in her. These are some of the people that she's had influence on. They were all at DOC. The lady on the right, Dolores, Dolores has been a Christian for 2 or 3 months now. And she said, again, extreme violence, drugs. She was nobody to be messed with. Her and Ramona hated each other. They would fight. I mean, they just did not like each other at all. Anyway, back in November, December of this past year, she finally said, I need to go to JTR. I need to sober up. And so she went to JTR. She could not believe Ramona. She couldn't believe it. She said she just was glowing. She had joy. She had peace. And the way she talked and the way she acted, she said, that is a different person. And she said this, whatever she's got, I want it. And so she started going to Ramona and just saying, how did you do this? How did you do this? What did you do? What changed? How did this happen? And Ramona just keeps pointing her to God. And Dolores was baptized into Christ. And that's the type of influence that Ramona has had, that she's been able to work with these people straight out of the world. And Dolores has been just like Ramona, on fire, never misses, studying, growing, and turning others to the Lord as well. A couple of others like Calvin and Jesse on the left side, were also a part of DOC that were recently baptized. Reggie with the Iron Maiden shirt on, he was also a part of that group at DOC. and was baptized, and man, he does not miss. He just an encouragement to see his influence, and his son. This is his son Ben, and he's been able to influence him to help him become a Christian. Again, I would love to tell other stories, but you start to run out of time. And this is the new facility of the Journey to Recovery. This facility was opened in October. So I think in October is when it started. The old one was kind of those old trailers, you know, the office, they look like offices, but they're trailers. That was Journey to Recovery, and it had been there for a long time. And this is something that is beautiful. I mean, without a doubt, if you look at these pictures, it is absolutely beautiful, brand new. This is where they meet at. Gorgeous facility. But why would the tribe spend this much money? You're talking millions of dollars. Why would they build this? Because the drugs and the alcohol are literally destroying the people. Scottsdale, pretty wealthy part of Phoenix, and Scottsdale is on this side of the freeway. You've got the 101 freeway here. So if you take Scottsdale on this side of the freeway, and then there's this freeway and then the reservation, which is still a Scottsdale address. Still Scottsdale address. This side of the freeway, average age of death, 81. This side of the freeway, average age of death, 53. 53. 30 years difference. The amount of drugs and alcohol, the amount of people dying of overdose, cirrhosis, suicide, murders, those types of things, backing over the 2-year-old child. Two months ago, I told you about Ian and Lila and their family. Ian is calling me. He's like, Josh, man, trying to work with my family. Because I was going to the jail. And I saw police just all around this house. I mean, like SWAT and everything was around this house. And I thought, whoa, what's going on? Anyway, that was Ian's cousin. Ian's cousin was living at that house, and his older cousin and his younger cousin were there, and then his younger cousin had a best friend. And they were outside just hanging out, and the best friend was sitting in a chair outside, and they were out looking out in the fields. And for some reason, the older cousin went inside, got a gun, came out, and shot the best friend of his younger brother. He shot him in the head. And they don't have a real reason. The guy's like, I don't. We weren't fighting. He just like went inside and came out, and then shot him in the head. But one of the things of especially like meth and some of those, you're always paranoid. You start to have these weird thoughts about people, and always skeptical of people, and thinking somebody's got something on you, and came out and shot this 21-year-old right in the head. One of our sisters that used to worship with us, part of DOC, and her son, 21 years old. I was studying with him at DOC, came out, got involved with drugs again, overdose, 21 years old. Ramona's sister, 29 years old, overdose. I mean, it is such a prominent thing that they're building facilities like this. You know, that they're saying we've got to do something. You know, we got to do something that our people are dying. You know, our people are dying, and by God's grace, they allow us in there. So what they did is they set up every third Sunday. So one Sunday they worship at the Nazarene Church. The second Sunday they worship at the Assembly of God. And then the third Sunday they come to worship with us. So they bring 20 to 30 from the Journey to Recovery to worship with us. And then that Tuesday we go to their place and we do Bible studies at their place. And this is the room that we get to do Bible studies there. Beautiful, man, beautiful facilities, just opened up back in October, and we are so thankful for that opportunity to do that. And what that does is they get, selfishly, we would like to have them every Sunday, but it gives them a chance to see what each congregation is like. They worship with these different denominations, and we get to love on them. We get to try to share the truth with them, and several of them come and worship with us afterwards. The great thing is we have quite a few people that become Christians. The difficulty is, so many of them go back. And so when you do have those success stories like Ramona, like Ian, like John, you hold on to them and you're just trying to build them up and put them in the right position to succeed, because there's a lot of others that go back to the world. And that drugs and alcohol is so difficult to come out of. And it's not that it can't be done, but ultimately it is the power of Jesus Christ. And when you see it happen, it is amazing. Real quickly, there's some other things that we do. The tribe, they just, 2 weeks ago was the National Day of Prayer. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the National Day of Prayer was a week or two ago. And the Salt River tribe actually celebrates this they allow their workers to take time off. So it's at 8:30 in the morning, and for 1 hour, they asked all the different denominations and a few leaders to get up there and to pray, like Tom Largo. You remember the guy I told you about? Tom Largo gets up there. But they asked me to pray, and what they do is they say, okay, this person is going to pray for the families of Salt River. This person is going to pray for the police and the fire department. This person is going to pray for the governments. This person is going to pray for all of those at DOC. This person is going to pray for all of the youth. And so I was asked to pray for the families. And this was our opportunity to get up there. There was some people that were going to sing to kind of begin the services. They were going to sing, and they had to cancel last minute. So I said, we'll sing. And so we got a few of the people from the congregation to get up there and sing. And we picked the song, I Need Thee Every Hour. Oh, how I need thee every hour. And we made copies and we handed it out to the audience, and we said, hey guys, we need you all to sing. And so that began our hour of prayer. And it gave us an opportunity for the community to see who is the Salt River Church of Christ. Who are these people? And you can see Dolores and Lila and Duff Barnes is up there as well. But I thought it was good. So we try to get out in the community. We do door knocking and seminars and different types of things, but not just to the Salt River Reservation. We also collect coats, blankets, hats, gloves every year, and we take it up to northern Arizona, to Kayenta, to hand out. And we do this every year, and we do a winter coat giveaway. And it is definitely much colder in Kayenta. It's higher elevation than Denver. You don't think about that, but it's actually a higher elevation than Denver. So you'll get down to -5 in the wintertime. And so it is definitely cooler up there than in Phoenix. And so we will collect jackets and blankets, and then we'll load it up on a big trailer and haul it up there and take people from Salt River and let them meet another tribe and meet another reservation, and then do some community outreach on the Navajo reservation as well. And so these are some of the things that God has allowed us to be a part of, and we are just thankful, so thankful if you can see sort of how it began and then how God has just continued to open doors and now trying to train up the next generation. And so considering that Salt River is not a huge congregation, you know, we were averaging about 75, but now we've been averaging closer to 100 because of the increase of JTR and DOC recently. That's been growing. We meet in a strip mall that is right there in the major part of Mesa. We're just south of the reservation. We're just 5 minutes from the reservation, but we're in Mesa in a little strip mall right there. And so, you know, it's kind of, you get what you, like, you got the chiropractor, and then the bar and grill, and then you got the massage parlor, and then you got the tattoos, and then you got us, and then you got the vape shop. And so we're just all right there, you know, and so it's like, hey, you know, whichever you're looking for, we got it, you know. And so it's been a blessing. God has truly given us so many opportunities, and I think about it, man, we've been there 13 years now, and how many people have been trained up to do ministry from this little church? And man, if you'd have asked me that 13 years ago, would that be possible? And I thought, man, no, but that's God. You know, that's definitely God working through this. So we've got a few minutes. Does anybody have questions, thoughts, comments, complaints? Any questions that anybody had that you were just curious about?
I didn't realize it was that many tribes in Arizona.
Yeah, 22 different reservations. Yeah, 22 different reservations. Yeah.
Language barriers among the tribes?
Any language barriers? There, in Phoenix, definitely not. Even though it's the Pima tribe, I never hear the native language spoken down there. Whereas on the Navajo reservation, you still hear the native language spoken up there. Much more rural, but when you get into the city, you tend to lose some of that. So, good deal. Any other questions that anybody had? Okay. Well, again, thank you guys so much for allowing me this opportunity to share, and may God continue to bless all that you guys do.